Wow, this is exciting. Okay, so this is Creative Mornings right here. And if you don't know what Creative Mornings is, it's the biggest breakfast lecture series in the world. Around the world, there's over 200 chapters. We're in 67 countries. There's been over 11 million views on the YouTube page. So if you missed this talk or you want to see other talks, you can check in on the YouTube page, and there's just a plethora of interesting conversations. And this is a global organization, so you hear conversations from all over the world. This is something we want to encourage, and we see it a lot here, but let me just see a show of hands. If you brought a friend with you to Creative Mornings, please raise your hand. Oh, right there. I love it. I love it. We like that experience of bring a friend and make a friend. So if you brought a friend, that's awesome. But we also want you to make a friend when you come to Creative Mornings because there's good people that are in the building. Okay, for I guess a better knowledge of what Creative Mornings is, we're going to get our Creative Mornings Manifesto, and I have somebody that's special that's going to be saying our Creative Mornings Manifesto, so please make some noise for B that's going to be saying our manifesto.
Buenos dias, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, what am I doing here? Okay, here we go. All right, you ready? Yes, okay. Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make the things you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. Actually, again, we believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections, in learning from others, in hugs and high fives. We bring together people who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome. Woo! Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, I did not get here in time to sign up for the community pitch, so I'm going to do it right now. I will be having an event August 18th, Sunday, August 18th. Our very own Ramel Wallace is going to be a performer. It's going to be a dance art showcase. I'm also born and raised in San Diego, and I'm moving to Mexico in a couple of months, so this is going to be the farewell event. We're going to have pole dancers, heel dancers, poets, rappers, all the things. So come out and watch Ramel and showcase his beautiful talent outside of what you get to see here today, and I can't wait to see you there. I have flyers. See me. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So now we're going to get into our sponsors for today. And I want to give a shout out to the Nat, but you know, the Nat's going to be able to explain this better than I can. So can I get Angie and Jessica to the stage? Make some noise for Angie and Jessica.
Good morning. I am so excited to have you all here today. What a Friday. Like, I'm just taking it in. My name is Angie Stalmos-Guerra, and I am the art director here at the Nat, which is an amazing opportunity. It means I get to think, lead, create, design that special intersection of art and science during a really special time in the Nat's history. It's our 150th anniversary. 150 years, that's crazy, right? The Nat was started in 1874 by a group of community scientists interested in preserving and protecting nature in our region. And we gather every day here at the museum and out in the field to do exactly that. We would love to invite you to join us as a member or donor, volunteer or visitor. As Ramel mentioned, your stickers get you in for the rest of the day. So check out the exhibits, 4 floors, inspiration, learn new things. Join us tonight at Nat at Night, have drinks on the rooftop, enjoy the view. And if you want to get out and get into nature to find inspiration, please join our canyoneers or our whalers on an excursion or a hike. For more ways to get involved, this is Jessica Mitchner, our manager of public programs.
Good morning, everybody. I am here to sell you on my world of public programs. So what that means is I run all of our adult-facing programming here at the museum. The first opportunity that I wanted to talk about very briefly is we have a Nat Talk, which is our lecture series going on next week, July 30th, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. So if you're not ready for the Comic-Con fun to end yet, please come and join us. Frank Santana will be explaining the intersection between science and storytelling. He'll be talking about Star Wars, Harry Potter, and lots of other fun popular culture references. So if you're interested in those types of things, please join us for our lecture next week. Another fun opportunity, which is my favorite, I guess it's like children, you shouldn't have a favorite one, but this is my favorite one. We host a 21 and up only program called Secret Society of Adultologists. That is Friday, September 13th from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. The theme this year is Wonderland. So it's all 4 floors, including our rooftop of behind-the-scenes science, hands-on activities, crafts, food, drinks, live music. Super fun, super exciting. I hope to see some of you there for that. And then the last opportunity that we have coming up, well, not our last, but the last one I'm going to speak about is our birthday celebration with our community, which is going to be happening on Saturday, October 19th. It's going to be a free day. We're going to have vendors outside, vendors inside. Again, food, live music, just a big birthday block party celebration for our 150th anniversary. So we hope to see you there for some of these neat opportunities. If you're interested in finding out more, visit our website, follow us on social media.
So make sure if you have like a notebook or something, or your phone, or you're recording, because there's a lot of things that are happening in San Diego and in the Nat as well. And so we're gonna get into our community pitches. And so what we're gonna do, actually, shout out to Nine-ish. They are providing us with these cards by Eva, our speaker for today. So if you didn't get a chance to pick up the postcards by Nine-ish, make sure you're picking up these postcards. They're very beautiful. Oh, and shout out to Big Brothers, Big Sisters. And Chris is right here on the stage. He's going to give you a little bit more about Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
Thank you, Ramel. Okay, let's get this going. Okay, hey everyone, my name is Chris. So I have been a volunteer for about 4.5 years, and now also I have the pleasure of running partnerships and outreach at Big Brothers Big Sisters. Shout out to Ramel for having us here, and excited to be at the Nat today. Thank you for also hosting us. Okay, so what is Big Brothers Big Sisters? Wow, this is a big screen. So Big Brothers Big Sisters' mission is to I can't even read this. Create and support one-to-one mentoring relationships that ignite the power and promise of youth. So essentially what that means is we help set up littles, so children in our community who ultimately need a mentor with bigs, or adults like yourself who ultimately want to give back to the community. So currently in San Diego, there are over 240 waiting littles. So these are kids in our community that maybe come from a single parent household, maybe have an incarcerated parent, or have a military parent. And for whatever reason, the kids themselves signed up for this program. They want to have a mentor. They need one in their life, and they're anxiously waiting for an adult like you to ultimately step in and be their mentor. So I wanted to ask everyone a question. Just think to yourself for a second. If you had a mentor growing up. So I know that when I was growing up, I had a lot of mentors, grandparents, sports coaches, my parents, and they were just a great resource for me to be able to ask questions, to be able to speak with, and really that were just there for me, right? And so when we think about being a volunteer, think back to if you had a mentor. And then also think about, what if you didn't have a mentor? So what if you grew up without somebody? Maybe you did grow up without somebody. I know, at least personally, I wouldn't be in San Diego right now if it wasn't for my mom as my mentor. My mom encouraged me to travel, to take risks, to go places that I wouldn't have gone. So I wouldn't be standing here right now if it wasn't for my mom. And maybe you wouldn't be in San Diego. Maybe you wouldn't be in your current job. Maybe you've had a professional mentor. So just really take a moment, think about, if you didn't have a mentor, where would you be? And ultimately, when children have mentors, we see not only just a positive impact in maybe where they are or their social confidence, we see that they're less likely to use illegal drugs, they're less likely to use alcohol, they're less likely to skip school or to skip class, and they're also less likely to hit someone. So these are statistics in San Diego. These are real statistics. These are real kids that are ultimately having an impact from having a mentor. And so why is there a positive impact when you have a mentor? Like, what's the difference? Why does this happen? And in my opinion, it's because someone had important conversations with that kid that might not have happened. So I've been a big for about 4.5 years. Certain things like the birds and the bees conversation, which was an awkward one. Some things about like next phases in life. I've taken my little to a college tour. We're looking at military options for him. But I had important conversations with him that no one was having. He comes from a large household, has 10 siblings, and I'm not a super mentor. I'm an only child. I didn't have any training in this, but I had the important conversations. I was there for him, and that's ultimately helped him a lot. And so to actually be a mentor, it doesn't take much. What it takes is 2 hours twice a month for a 1-year commitment. Generally, our matches go for over 4 years, and that's not because people feel obligated. It's because people make a real connection with a child, and they become a part of their life, and they get benefits. I know that my little has taught me to just enjoy the little things. I know he's shown me things that I probably wouldn't have done, and kind of taken me out of my comfort zone. And so mentors really benefit from this and ultimately end up staying in the program much longer. And so if you're interested, I'll be in the back there today. Feel free to come ask me a question. We're really trying to help out these kids. And yeah, go to sdbigs.org to learn more. And again, I'll be in the back. Thank you so much for everyone's time. Let's really try to help out our community. That's why we're here. I think all of you would make great mentors. Thank you so much.
I love when you get up here and tell stories. Stories really connect people to purpose making and making meaning out of your lives. And that's why we come here. We come here to make meaning. And so now we're going to get into our community pitches. We're going to hear a lot of the events that are happening in San Diego, meet some people as well, and maybe these are potential mentors or mentees that are out there. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to call the people. They're going to come down to the stage, and you're all going to line up on the stage. Like it's going to be a long line. You're going to do your 30-second speech or your pitch. And the pitch is 30 seconds, not just to rush people, just to get people to practice telling a concise story. You might be in a certain situation and you want to get rid of those filler words and you want to get right to the point of whatever your idea is. And we want to be the best storytellers, and we want to be an organization that helps San Diegans become better storytellers. So you have that 30 seconds to pitch your idea, and then you're going to hand the mic over. I'm going to try my best to count those 30 seconds, but if there's somebody that's willing to be the 30-second counter that's out there in the crowd, that can be like, yo, that's 30 seconds is up. You can raise your hand and you can be the volunteer, because I've proven to not be as strenuous with the 30 seconds. I'm a pushover. Oh, you want to volunteer? Okay. You got the timer and stuff, and then you got a magic word you gonna say for the 30 seconds? Magic. So when you hear magic, that means wrap it up. Okay. So Chelsea to the stage. Shelby, and you can give him a round of applause too, because you're bold if you're coming up here. You're brave. Noelle, Isabel, Jay, come on down. Kate, come on down. Richard, come on down. Elena, come on down. Glad and Sylvia, come on down. And so you're going to line up on this side. Okay. I see what's going on. Some people are like, oh, I signed up first, but I don't want to speak first. We see what y'all be doing on the list. I've seen this on the list. Because there's a list in this 1 through 10. And some people see the list and they're like, I'm signing up at 6. I'm not signing up at 1. And it's fun to see. But I'm going to pass the mic over, and we're going to get these pitches started. And before we go into this, let's just do a little chant or something so we can get people excited about this. When I say I have, you say power. I have. Power. I have. Power. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So I'm gonna hand the mic over, and I'm going to get off the stage.
Thank you. Hello, beautiful people. So I want to ask you, how many people in here have cars? Everybody. Perfect. I'm your guy. I'm Jay. I'm here from En Route to Help Towing. I own a towing company / auto repair. So I mean, if you go 3,000 miles over an oil change, you might want to come see me. So don't do that though. Don't do that though. But I mean, connect with me if you have any car questions, whatever. I have a lot of connects in San Diego. I've been doing this since 2019 is when I started my business, right before COVID. It kind of hit me a little bit, but I'm doing well. I got a tow truck. I got, a couple guys that work with me, so there it is. All right, thank you.
That was awesome. Hey everyone, I'm Shelby Stanger. I've been on this stage before, and if you like adventure, you feel stuck, you're scared, or you just want an excuse to go outside, I just wrote a book called Will to Wild, Adventures Great and Small to Change Your Life. It's now available in paperback, and if any of you need some financial help, I got a couple copies in my car. If anybody wants to talk writing or podcasting, I also host Wild Ideas Worth Living, now owned by REI Co-op. I'd love to talk to you. I love that you got me out of the bubble of North County. Thanks.
Good morning, you guys. So I'm going to start with a question as well. Raise your hand if you are single or your friend's single or you've ever been single. So that should be everyone here, right? Yeah? So my name's Aliana Copley, and I am the founder of Craft Connections. And so what we do is our mission is we want to help build meaningful relationships and help you guys do that and move away from those dating apps, right? So at our events, what we do is each guest will fill out a questionnaire, a private questionnaire, and I will then run with my program through the system all of the responses to then I use emotional behavioral science to back your responses through an algorithm to help you guys be matched with the person with the best morals and values that connects with you. So I know I have 30 seconds, so come and find me if you're interested in coming to our next event. There will be 160 other singles there. Perfect. Good job.
Oh my goodness. I kind of wrote things down because I haven't spoken in front of this many people in a long time. But hi, my name's Chelsea Magaoy, Magaoay, or you can follow me on Instagram at rosecoloredchels.art. I'm an artist living in Normal Heights. Is anyone else an artist here? Nice, nice. And I do pop-up events all over San Diego and the Barrio Logan area, North Park and Normal Heights. So if you guys want to get connected and you want to present your art at pop-ups and stuff like that, come find me after this. And I have resources for popping up at booths, and I'm tied with other creators. So yeah, please come say hi to me.
Testing, testing. Good morning, everybody. My name is Noelle Langston. I am from AIGA, the American Institute of Graphic Arts, which means the Professional Association for Design. Is anyone in the room any sort of a designer, graphic design, product design, hands? Are you looking for a job? Are you looking for friends? Are you looking for an opportunity to develop professionally? Come and join our events. We have a big event coming up in October 24th, 25th, 26th. We've got a summit with all sorts of people, kind of like a family reunion for designers all across the world. We've got a coaching opportunity. We've got a party. If you have anything to submit for our showcase, it's really simple. Share some images on our website, internationaldesigncelebration.com, and you'll be a part of the showcase, as well as a travel excursion, creative excursion to Tijuana. So hope to see you there. Thank you. Internationaldesigncelebration.com, AIGA. Nice to meet you all.
Hello, everybody. My name is Isabel Contreras. I'm the founder of an organization called Mi Gente CA, where we organize cultural events for underrepresented creatives. We are having a block party event at Mujeres Brew House on August 25th from 12 to 6. We're going to have local vendors, entertainment, and arts activities for all. So if you would like to find more information, you could follow us at MiGenteCA on Instagram or check out migentesca.org. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Richard Provencio, aka Richard Richards. I'm a street photographer, former comedian, and board member of Medium Photo. Basically, I'm a photographer serious about work, and I run a critique group every third Thursday of the month. So the next one that I run will be on August 15th. It's for photographers working on personal art projects that want feedback from the community. It's one of the best ways to grow your practice and improve in your craft. If you're interested, come find me afterwards, or my Instagram is at rickpics.me, RICPICS.me. That's where I post about the crit group. Sweet.
That's a tough act to follow. Hi, everybody. I'm Kate Morrissey. I'm here today with my friend and fellow journalist Lauren Mapp. We are co-founding a new news outlet for San Diego called Daylight San Diego, and we believe that there are a lot of issues that aren't being covered here in our community. We also know there are a lot of communities who don't feel like the news reflects their experience of San Diego, and we know there are a lot of communities for whom the news is usually written about rather than for, and we're trying to change that. So in order to do that, that requires collaboration with the community, and we're having a listening session coming up in August. We have flyers. Please come talk to us. Thank you.
Hi, we're Glad and Sylvie. We're the founders of Drip Creative Studio. It's a 4,800 square foot warehouse that holds 2 dance studios, a podcast room, and 2 photo video rooms. We just opened, it's been a month and a half, but we have 3 dance classes per night, as well as have rentable space for events, workshops, lectures, and fitness classes. So if you want to come through, our motto is where we take creative seriously. We really want to help everyone in San Diego build a business and hold space for them. So come and talk to us. Thank you.
I'm always sitting on the side when we do the 30-second pitches because I'm really in awe of all the amazing things that are happening in San Diego, all the bold creatives that are coming out here and putting themselves on the line, because it's hard to get up here and speak and talk and just talk about something that's on your heart that you've been putting so many hours in and that you care so much about. So just shout out to all the creatives that did the pitch and that are out there doing that every day of their lives as well, because I know and I see you out there, and it's hard work, but it's beautiful and necessary work as well. So now we're getting into our theme of the month, and let's sit in this idea, you know, because we're on Earth, you know, on the floating rock, and everybody on the globe right now for this month have been thinking about this theme of trust. And when we have these themes for Creative Mornings, we want you to sit in this idea of the theme for the month. So I've been sitting in this idea of trust sometime, or for this month, and I've just been thinking for myself, it's like, you know, sometimes, you know, you just have to listen to yourself in a deep way. People are listening to themselves and their bodies through semantics and what their gut feels and their heart feels and their mind feels. And how do you listen to that and act upon it? Sometimes it's quitting something you love. Sometimes I've had to step in and say, you know what? I'm not feeling it anymore. And that's one of the hardest things to let go. But to trust that is even harder. But this is what we have for Creative Mornings headquarters when it comes to the theme of trust. When we trust each other, we feel safe to share ideas, to give feedback, and to take risk. It requires vulnerability and a willingness to be open to possibilities. Trust is a gift. So let's keep giving ourselves the grace of trust when we walk through our days. And now we get to our speaker for today. Our speaker for today has a beautiful mural outside. if you have not seen it in the atrium that everybody was sitting in front of. They have been a textilist and a muralist for many years and have been featured nationally. They've been featured in the Museum of Contemporary Art, here at the Nat, at the New Children's Museum. They have paintings. They do a lot of public art as well that are surrounding landscapes and social commentary, the environment, and personal histories. Without further ado, please give a healthy round of applause for Eva Struble.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Ramel, and everyone else organizing this. How does this sound? Sounds okay? All right. Okay, just a second. So, it's great to be here this morning. February 2023, I was standing in front of 2 stories of blank wall, the largest painting surface I had ever encountered, here at the San Diego Natural History Museum, an institution that's 150 years old, as we heard, has hundreds of thousands of visitors a year, and has millions of specimens in its research collection. And I was invited to do what I wanted with it. This was actually only the second mural that I've done on my own, and I hadn't actually used a lift before. There were some uncertainties. This, after all, is a museum of science and facts and history, and I'm sort of more of an artist who prefers to freely interpret the world rather than paint facts. I was also told when I was approached about this project that there were a lot of stakeholders and they hadn't been able to agree on what to put here for decades. No pressure. I was all in. There's a lot of talk about imposter syndrome, right? I think I might have whatever is the opposite. When I get a new opportunity to do something, I know that I'm going to figure it out. And so I'm talking today about self-trust. What is trusting yourself? Is it trusting your intuition? When I was in graduate school, we wrangled with the idea of intuition in art, this kind of catch-all for everything watercolory, disorganized artist who will recount their dream to whoever happens to be present, which is me, by the way. I had a teacher who argued that rather than intuition being art sort of channeled through this higher power of the artist, that intuition was sort of an excuse for lazy, unresearched decision-making. Fair enough. I mean, intuition, after all, does live in the same part of our subconscious as bias, so it's not all positive. On one hand, there is the artist sort of channeling this higher power of art, hearing from the painting what the next move should be, right? This typical idea of the abstract expressionist painter or something. On the other hand, there should be reasoning for the choices we make, right? Maybe it's better to push against our natural instincts in order to grow. I moved from making rather abstract, unexplainable artwork to making work that had to do with stories, environmental and personal stories and social stories of places where I had lived. And I started with work about Baltimore, my hometown, and Superfund sites in Baltimore, which are the EPA's most environmentally damaged sites across the United States. This is an image of my dad, who's somewhere in the audience this morning, helping me figure out our tour of Superfund sites in Baltimore before we had maps on our phones. And this was a miniature golf course built on a Superfund site called Superfun Golf. I went on to make work about Newtown Creek in Brooklyn, as well as the Brooklyn Navy Yard. These are all like mostly acrylic and oil on canvas, as well as a number of these paper installations about Poblano, a neighborhood in Barcelona. And then once I came to California, I was inspired by a number of different agricultural sites around the edges of the city and San Diego County. But back to the Nat. So 4 months later, I had a contract. My work began with the help of many researchers and staff in the museum. There are so many people who work here that you have no idea, that you never see. I had the chance to go into the archives and look through images of these glass plate negatives. When they're blue like this, I guess it means they're actually deteriorating, but I thought it was really pretty. And then incredible illustrations of plants and animals. Look at this snake. It's like someone friendly that you wouldn't mind encountering. I don't know, is it friendly? Also, these many musty old books. This was a set of books that had illustrations that were commissioned by the government of every single border monument along the US-Mexico border. And then jars upon jars of snakes and spiders, which are housed directly below us, by the way. Also, these cool glass slides. I don't know if you can read these, but one of my favorites is Eye of Garden Spider in the top left. Also, Palette of Mollusk is kind of like, there's inspiring some interesting ideas in me. I got a chance to look through all of these pressed botanical specimens, like this seaweed, which is housed in this inauspicious office cabinet. This is the algae cabinet. And I got to talk to John Rebman, the botanist here, about his favorite plants in the San Diego Baja region, a wealth of information. I also looked through so many images on iNaturalist of plants that people have found in the region. You can actually upload your own findings, and some of them are really weird. This is called an earth star. It's a type of fungus that looks like a puffball when it's a baby, and then when it gets moist, it opens up, and some of them actually open and close as moisture occurs and disappears. And then ultimately, I ended up basing the mural on a view of Iron Mountain. Anybody hike there? Yeah? It's a nice spot. Maybe not at 2 p.m. right in July, but at like 7 in the morning. And included a number of species that you've probably already smelled, poked your finger on, and others that might be less familiar. So this is the cloudless sulfur butterfly and the Kino checker spot butterfly, which is an endangered species here. And then the piece is named Frisera after this tiny little flower, Frisera perriyi, and you can see it in the bottom right corner of the mural, and I blew it up to kind of give it its moment in the spotlight, even though it's actually quite a small flower in reality. My students from SDSU and local high school students came to help painting one day. My assistant Johnny was tireless. And ultimately, the museum trusted me to make something both in the factual spirit of the institution and with imagination. The painting was a learning process about being in the moment while making a planned work. My assistant pushed me to be gestural with the piece, and even brought giant Japanese brushes for us to play with. And I would say, even painting in public with this high stakes project, we decided to be rather free and loose with the way we painted it. Most murals, perhaps, are painted from a projection, and many paintings too, and that's understandable, that we sometimes lean back on this sort of painting by number approach. But in this case, I thought, why fill in a gesture? Why replicate a gesture by filling in? The challenge for me in a commission process is that a detailed proposal is necessary, but it's almost always better to find the fresh act in the piece, so sort of painting in the moment. And you can see speed and confidence in painting, and that mark of a body's movement is interesting to me. Malcolm Gladwell in this book, Blink, talks about snap decision-making, rapid cognition, and argues that they can be powerful, even superior to slow, measured decision-making. He talks about how if you have too much information while you're making a choice, or if you have to explain your choice while you're making it, it can actually lead to a worse outcome. When I'm starting a painting, I start with a lot of snap decision making. I start with an experiment. I start with arbitrary material choices that sometimes start like something like this and then later become something like this. Sometimes, for example, too, I will work with sheets of paint, and they're not, I make the sheets of paint and then use the backside, so they only reveal the pattern once I'm finished with the process. I like to sneak up on myself. I like to surprise myself in my work as much as it's possible. But also, as Gladwell says, spontaneity isn't random. As any actor, athlete, artist, musician knows, improvisation takes practice. And it's interesting to me that those professions embody this continuous cycle of committed practice to fast intuitive action and back to practice again. I like to make fast decisions, not only in art. My midlife crisis has been trying fast sports. And I am not an athlete. I've never been interested in sports, but recently I feel like skiing, while it will take all of your money and break all of your bones, is the best thing ever. It's full of fast decisions. Mountain biking, which I'm way worse at, has a similar feeling. This particular day may have ended abruptly, but I prefer to think that it deepened my relationship with my husband as he picked hundreds of cactus tines out of my rear end. Very special. I'd like to argue that these kinds of sports are similar to painting in that I get to play with, or one gets to feel a gist as part of the experience. I have a general idea of where I'm going, which might be the bottom of the mountain, or a general sense of how an art piece should become, but there are a lot of choices I can make on the way, a lot of decisions I can make in the moment as I'm getting there. Maybe it's good if it's just a little bit scary. Physical endeavors have become more entwined with my work as an artist over time, and sometimes friends open space for this. When I went to the Philippines with my friend Lara last summer, it was one of my first trips without my family since having a son 7 years ago. I wanted to do something athletic and outdoors, and we decided to take a kayak trip around a small island, sleeping on whatever beach wouldn't disappear with the tide as we went. It was a very physical trip, from 90-degree weather to sometimes intense wind as we were trying to find a place to sleep. We paddled through thunderstorms with lightning across the sky, and once were a little bit too close for my comfort to a cargo ship. But I became more aware and confident of my body through the trip, and I was grateful for my friend. And I hear her in my head sometimes saying, oops, oh, these are some images I skipped. This is just a sense of what the island was like. Some tall cliff faces. So that's a place where we couldn't spend the night, for example. There's that ship that was stressing me out. If you feel nervous, convince yourself you're excited. Is this accurate? And I love this idea, and I really do hear it in my head a lot. My father's mother, Rosie, was from the Western Visayas, the islands just east of us. And I grew up hearing stories about her catching dinner, crabs, with her feet on the beach. Have you ever tried catching a crab with your hand? It's like hard enough, right? So while I haven't developed that skill yet, this trip did have me thinking about embodied experience, further trusting my body and trying to hear it better. In The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk, he says that all of our experiences imprint on our bodies, and that we have bodily memory of emotional and psychological experiences. In my work, I wanted to think about psychological imprints of place, and I tried to express an embodied experience of place through work that I made this last year. It's actually hard for me to talk about the actual paintings, so I will just go through them. These are mostly about 60 by 70 inches. Again, acrylic oil on canvas over the last year. This is what's on the postcard. 2 of these paintings are based on an experience going through a cave in the Philippines. There we go. This one I still haven't finished. I just keep flipping it around and painting over it and changing it. I also make textile pieces. So with these works, they're dyed and marbled and sprayed, and sometimes I'm using digital prints in them and a variety of other things, and then sewing them together. They're hand sewn together. Another example of one of those pieces. Some process. Sometimes there's a lot of X-Acto knife work, little calluses on the tips of my fingers. Okay, and so these paintings were exhibited last month in New York at Jane Lombard Gallery. If art has been an excuse to go places that I wouldn't normally go and to be outside, sometimes it's an excuse to get others to do the same. At San Diego State, where I've taught for 12 years, I was lucky enough to be able to create a class that combined hiking, drawing, and ethnobotany called Sage and Sweat, the Drawn and Researched Walk. Here we are in Mission Trails, where we spent many days in the semester hiking. Here we are with Michael Wilkin Robertson, who wrote the book on Kumeyaay ethnobotany. And so my desire with this class, besides selfishly combining things that I already like, was to get students thinking with their bodies, with less screens, and bonding in a way that is sometimes difficult in a classroom setting. These are also the reasons that I've enjoyed teaching study abroad. Here are some of my students in Morocco. This must have been actually 10 years ago now. And in France. And so while painting outside of the classroom or making work outside of the classroom doesn't have air conditioning and doesn't have easels, for example, my hope is that the confidence that students gain from being in these new settings will really contribute to their creative work. Okay, one more time. So going back to the blank canvas once again, whether it's a blank canvas or a design or any other project, sometimes it's hard to start. I have a few pieces of advice that work for me. So 5 to be specific. Work on more than one piece at a time. For me, this is great. I love having 4 paintings going at once. If I get sick of something, I'm looking at it too long, I can't see it, I turn it around and don't look at it for a few weeks. And then I can see it with fresh eyes. Forget your failures, right? This might just happen to me because I have a poor memory, and that's lucky. But I have been rejected by so many residencies, grants, projects, and I don't take it personally. If anything, I remember that actually there's more artists and curators on those committees who are seeing my work. Just start. You can correct later. I think mistakes in the process are a place of discovery. You know, obviously not if you like F up the whole thing, but you know, like in general, that, I mean, even that maybe. I mean, even that. Practice in order to improvise, self-explanatory, I think. And then my personal favorite, naps and walks. I mean, it's just another way, again, to like put the screen aside, hopefully, and be back in your body. So, when you go back into the atrium, I invite you to take another look at the painting. Who knows, maybe it will be blank again someday. What would you do with it? Thank you. Oh.
Wow, give another round of applause for that talk. I don't say this all the time, but so many downloads that I got from that. One thing I really loved is how you talked about intuition and how sometimes intuition can be biased. And that just reminds me of just of conversations with ancestors that I'll have. And it'll be like the conversation is present, and I'm trying to explain this new world or new possibility to my ancestors. They're trying to protect me from going places and doing new things, but I'm like, there's a bias to that. Let's find a middle grounding. But I don't want to take up too much space, and now is our Q&A part of Creative Mornings. So if you have a question, Devora right here, which is she's part of the Creative Mornings team. Make some noise for Devora right here. She's gonna find you, or is it easier for them to come down here? Okay, you could just yell your question. So if you have a question, just raise your hand, and then we can get to you right there.
Yeah. Well, what I've learned is that you can put acrylics under oils just because the drying time is the main issue. There's still, like, you can get to different levels of archival approach, but no oil under acrylic because it will crack on the top, but the oil as it dries more slowly or cures on top is seemingly okay on acrylic because you're normally painting oil over an acrylic gesso anyway. So that we'll see in 100 years. Let's check back. Yes, or do you want to call, or I can call on people? Okay, yeah. Yeah. Sure. I mean, I think there's another world in which I could have continued with more non-representational work, and that would have been like interesting and fulfilling. But I mean, I don't know, how did that happen? I mean, certainly there's one level, which is like going to get to graduate school, you're sort of forced to explain your work more. And so, I mean, that's a sort of perhaps, I don't know if that's a negative way of looking at it, but I started to make work in response to that. Like, oh, I maybe there should be more of a story in here I can talk about. I didn't know how to talk about a material process as the stuff of the work. And so, but at the same time, I think it did lead me to be able to do some sort of explorations that were really interesting to me. And there is a part of me that really does love going into archives and libraries and sometimes like putting on the white gloves and like looking through old things like that. So I don't know, it's a balance, because obviously the more research you do, sometimes it feels like the less you can be free. So that's always like a rope to walk, or a line to walk, whatever you say. A tightrope to walk. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah. Right. Right. Oh my gosh, I should be asking you. Oh, can I repeat the questions? Yes, advice for young artists coming up today. I mean, I think something that I didn't realize when I was younger was that, and maybe this is really evident to everyone here already, was that like my network of friends and students around me was like what could lead me and help me to grow over time. Like staying in touch with teachers, friends, community, and building that network is so important. And I guess, you know, because it can be challenging, I don't know that I would recommend that a young artist move here. It's so expensive, right? But the way that you're gonna like find a place to work and find a, you know, maybe somebody who wants to buy your work is that like social group. I mean, that's one, it's hard. I'm not sure. I truly am curious from younger artists, like what you think is helpful as well, like what has been successful for you. Is there one thing?
Well, going off the whole, moving to San Diego, because I actually moved back to San Diego, fully realizing that it is expensive here.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I constantly hear is like, finding a day job, to make it work, to make ends meet, and like just going back to the trust thing.
Oh yeah.
Trust yourself that if you want this, like make that, go for it. Like seek out every opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of that. It's like just reaching out to my community
Yeah.
in the North Park area. There's lots of events there and other artists and like community members who are trying to support other artists
Mm-hmm.
to like make it work. So I mean that's
Yeah.
how I've been exploring.
That's good to hear. Yeah. Yeah, and certainly I had so many day jobs. I mean, I've like worked at mortgage brokerage places, shady mortgage brokerage, but like lots of restaurants, bars, any kind of thing, like temping. I mean, it depends if you're into it, like you do those things for it. If you're there for it, yeah. Yes.
I've kind of always had this belief of like, if you're super passionate about something, like you could just like make it happen no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I'm like entering my later 20s, I'm going back to discovering like education again,
Mm-hmm.
how that supports you. And I know you kind of like touched on this a little bit with other people's question or answers or whatever. But how do you feel like your education like supports you as an artist, and kind of like if you have any moments of like questioning, like do I need to go to school or can I just like
Mm-hmm.
find that?
Mm-hmm.
Anything like that.
She's asking if, how my education supported my career as an artist. This is summing it up very simply, but that's the gist of it, right? I think that's such a difficult question, because an MFA is a very expensive thing to get. A lot of people are stuck with debt from it. I mean, I feel glad to teach in a public institution where you can get an MFA for a lower cost than a private institution, but certainly going to a well-respected graduate program was very helpful for my career in the way that we have to like pay for rent and pay for food. So, it was certainly, and it was definitely worth it for me as far as the growth of my work, and it was definitely worth it for me for like being able to actually also step into New York after grad school with so much luck, immediately start showing my work. It's not like it has always continued like that. It's like this. So I mean, I do feel like it's very valuable as an artist to get an MFA, but I think it's important to just think about that, like definitely the cost-benefit analysis of like what kind of program you're going to go into, and can you find like one of the remaining public programs that's not so ridiculous. Does that answer your question? Yeah, okay, good. Yes, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Hmm. I want to just say it's like that bad memory for failure. How did I nurture that? I'm not sure. I mean, I do think that a lot of it is like having good opportunities coming to me. And I mean, I guess it sounds a bit cheesy, but the like say yes to anything that sounds interesting. Like I have tried to be very open to different things that would come up. And so sometimes those weren't, what am I trying to say? Yeah, like I don't, that doesn't mean they were always the best choices, but I'm not actually sure how I maintained that. I think it's like the luck of having good opportunities, but also trying to say yes a lot, and maybe that has been helpful. Yeah. 2 more questions? Okay, I don't know if there are people who've had their hand up for a long time, or this guy right here. It's this guy.
Okay, so when you started to teach,
Yeah.
how did that change how you approached your own work?
This guy.
Yeah, well, when I moved here, I was like, I think with my own work, I was a little bit lost. I was definitely like here alone in San Diego, like moved into a house, empty house, like sleeping with a sleeping bag on the floor. Psyched had great students from the get-go at SDSU, and that was great and fun. My own work was like, like I was trying to figure things out. So I'm not sure, I mean, certainly my energy went towards teaching at that point, and I'd like to say like, oh, it like greatly benefited my work immediately because I had the creative energy of these young people around me. But no, I think first I was just focused on teaching and like trying to find a place here. I had also, I mean, it was like thinking about that over time though, like how it's changed my work over time. I mean, what's exciting, I think, probably for any teacher is when you can discover something that you can teach that you also like enjoy. And so, yeah, being able to like, oh, I could take my students outside. Like we could do projects in different settings. Then that is more of this like feedback loop that's positive, right? And like we're all sort of like in the same thing together, rather than trying to be like, let me tell you about the history of painting, because I don't really, that has never been what's made me interested in painting, and I'm not very good at art history. Like I love going to a museum, but I'm not interested in like teaching about old paintings necessarily. So I guess things that can get like both the class and me into like the present act of painting and exploration and discovery, and yeah, like I said, like stuff outside of the classroom. Hopefully that kind of answered your question. Was there anyone else that has had their hand up for a while? People over here pointing this way. Oh, down here? Yes, go ahead.
Big lobby, because I knew that was really big. That's like a big thing,
Yeah.
They do the process for
Well, there was actually like a beautiful exchange in a way that a graduate student I worked with at SDSU when I first got here works at the museum, Aaron Skalman. So we knew each other originally from SDSU, and I think he floated my name. And I think, and then it went through sort of a vetting process of like, okay, well, they'll take that and ask, the people at the MCSD and this person and that person and see if she's the right fit. I'm sure they had other people that they were thinking about for the mural. So I don't, I mean, it was really important to have that connection. Yeah, yeah. And I think we are wrapping up. Thank you so much for coming today.
Wow, thank you for answering all those questions. And one of the bold things that stood out to me is just to say, you know what, I don't know sometimes. Or that's not such a bold thing to say, especially in today's commentary where everybody feels like something has to be said. Sometimes there's a deep feeling of not knowing, and as a creative, to open that up and to be vulnerable with that and to trust your vulnerability in those spaces, it says a lot about you. I love how you came on this stage and you were so humble, and just the perspective from even a teaching aspect, and knowing that you want us to retain the information. I respect the teachers out there, and I respect the students that are out there as well, because eventually you become the teachers. And thank you so much to the Creative Mornings team. We had a few people join the team this month. We have Rose and we have Ash on the team now, so it's awesome. And thank you. And as you go into this Friday, let me, before I say my ending remarks, shout out to the Nat, because this is beautiful up here, okay? We feel like we about to run for president. But your talk reminded me of this book called The Midnight Rainbow. It's Remember the Midnight Rainbow. And if you think about a midnight rainbow, just think about a midnight rainbow. It's like this impossibility. It's this ethereal idea. And one of the quotes in the book was that if you have butterflies in your stomach, allow them into your heart. So go into your Friday and trust that those butterflies getting into your heart will allow you to ascend. And thank you for coming to Creative Mornings. Have an amazing Friday. Make sure you're picking up your trash and everything and respecting the museum. And enjoy the museum for today and the rest of the month. Thank you so much. And don't forget, next month we are at the Central Library on August 30th.